Well, here we have a 1 versus 1 between AdmiralGeneral and Ptar on Classy Baron. A Baron Moon, or is it? There is a ton of metal here. So, expansion is going to be key to this game, and of course locking down your opponent's expansion likewise. AdmiralGeneral, arguably one of the top players in PA at the moment. Ptar PAG says it all. Right, in they go. So Ptar on the north spawn here in grey, gunmetal grey, going bots first. And on the south side down here we've got in green, wonderful AdmiralGeneral from the Meta Factory. Small group of people that define the cheese in PA. But both going bots, following up with air, bots, air. Meanwhile, Ptar, bots, air, bots, bots. So we're going to have a little bit of early air progression from Admiral here. He's going to have a slightly stronger air force. And hopefully he can use that to his advantage when raiding and preventing Fabbers from expanding. We can already see the expansion orders being queued up here. We got the area commands. Even added in with a few turrets and Galata there as well. So a lot of this is going to be a contest around the other side of the planet, as well as timing transitions between bases. We've got a boombot coming out here. Just going to go and hunt a few fabricators down. I've seen this used increasingly actually in PA, this whole let's use a sneaky boombot to try and grab a couple of fabs, and because these two fabs are sat next to each other, if this boombot connects, that'll kill two fabs, win one stone. Thing is, there is the commander right there. Can they just do it? Looks like they might just manage it! Oof. That was incredibly close. But no cigar, and out come the docks. So the fabs are going to be defended thereafter. That was very, very close. Unfortunate for Admiral, but a good try nonetheless, and boombots are bloody cheap, so it's not really all that much loss. He almost gets in again! Almost connects 3 fabs that time. What is this already turning into ridiculousness? Again, the second air factory still queued there for Ptar. Not Ptar, sorry, Admiral. Ptar, though, with much, much stronger bots, so he's going to be sending his docks around the other side of the planet to try and lock down Admiral's fabbers, rather than using boombots necessarily. Both players reclaiming comms. I must admit, when I play this map, I love to spam bots. I spam bots until my opponent is trying to go super, super defensive because I'm bot spamming everywhere, and then I send a few fabs, proxy maybe to over one of these 3 mechs here, build a couple of point defense, and then start vehicle factories from here rather than vehicle factories in my base, because that not only gives me the continued aggression, but it also means that the moment I get my vehicles out in the field, they're in play rather than having to transition. Not transition, move up the map rather. Fabber here, not long for this world though, with these docks moving in. Not a huge amount that can stop those, apart from their legs apparently decided to stop moving when they reached the mechs. Fortunate for Admiral, but still good at containing the expansion, and that's what's needed. Every little helps here. What's also good is all these turrets going up for Ptar there. We've got any queued up there. It's a nice sort of gradual build up, this one. The second air factory finally queued there, and up to a 4th bot. Down here, however, we've got a few bumblebees coming out. Expansion a little weaker, it would seem. Yet at the same time, the reclaim is keeping things afloat. Bombers coming in though, and they'll find that the fabs are actually surprisingly close to the base, and I think this might give Ptar just that little bit of confidence in this game. And air fabs as well. On a map such as this one, air fabs quite risky. It's a deceptively small planet, this one. It might look absolutely massive, but if you look at the vision range from air units, that actually covers a rather large amount of the planet. So managing to get a air fab building stuff and not get sniped and seen is quite a mean feat indeed. Raiding not quite managed over there, but more docks. Not docks, sorry. Bot fabs. I call them docks, they look like docks. I just have nano thingy built into them. Just managing to survive there, and that's important. Wow, the micro is real from Admiral there. Fantastic. Have we got the T2 transition yet? Probably not for another minute or two. Speaking of which, there it is. Fortunately, Patar manages to see it though, so he'll be able to factor that into his plans. He sees a T2 vehicles, no less. And with the eco there, Admiral being able to afford that. Floating a little bit, can probably get a couple more fabs on that actually, maybe even use his comm to do that. But at the same time, the other option is to continue to build up your T1 presence. Because of course, as I said earlier, this map is about raiding and counter-raiding, and Patar currently is stretching a little bit. The eco gap is widening there up to 131 to 82 there. And the longer Admiral leaves these, the more cost effective they will be, and the bigger Patar's aggression is going to become, and the harder time he's going to have defending. But if he gets his T2 first, that could turn the tables a little bit. Looks like the fab on the South Pole was finally picked off by a nasty little dox there. Fab on the South Pole was being bullied. Goodness me. Com though, still building up the T1 as expected for Admiral. He realises he's behind just a little bit in the map presence. And the amount of dox aggression here, he will be feeling hemmed in somewhat. Patar managing to support his bombers just a little bit and actually taking out Admiral's bomber there. That's quite important actually, because that means that this dox force can continue. Ooh, that attack command though. Again, the bomber goes down. Not good news for Admiral here. His T2 factory is only just surviving this. He needs just that little bit more build power on there to keep it alive. Otherwise, that's going to be a significant amount of wasted metal there. The fab are even retreating. What? Why? What? Was that a mistake? Is he abandoning the T2 factory? Oh no, he's using a bot fabber on it instead. Again though, the next dox force is ready and waiting, and we see the continued expansion here from Patar. While Admiral is on the defensive, the amount of metal up for grabs is insane, and the pop! Pop! Well, that halved the dox force, that's good. We do need a much greater defense here from Admiral, because even the defense that he is fielding is costing him a lot actually. It's not doing very well. He's losing units and mechs with each attack here. Something of a war of attrition, certainly for Admiral. The longer he takes to fend off these attacks, the bigger the next one becomes. And the more units he loses. I think we can say that the snowball has officially turned into an avalanche here as the T2 factory's down. The GG is called. No way back from that. The eco disparity is too great. 180 to 64 after just 9 minutes. Mines did a good job though. MVP Mines, fantastic game. Absolutely brutal. Although of course, for Admiral, as he says, rather awful start. Moving into game 2 of this series. Here we are. Go anywhere. Game is up. Game 2 in this best of 3 series. AdmiralGeneral versus Patar again, this time on Amazon Safari. So, hi Bob. Yeah. North versus South spawn, 8 mechs in your spawn. More than enough metal to go early T2 without too much worry. That is if you decide to, because there's enough to be getting on with T1 here. There's this pawn to take. If you decide to go for naval in here, that can be quite a pain for your opponent. Equally, there's the naval side on the reverse of the map here. You've got this entire corridor of water going up all the way between the spawns, commanding a lot of control over a lot of resources here, actually. You'd be surprised how much naval influences this map's outcome. Equally, T2 bots tends to be a nasty one on this map. Locusts. Eek. Of course, the T1 raiding is going to be important as ever, as will the tug of war as the crow flies. Players spawn in, though. Let's see what happens. In the North spawn this time, we have Patar in gunmetal grey and Z. Bots first with a 1-2. Following up with air, maybe? Deciding what his second factory is going to be. Setting up his queues and his build ratios. Air second. There we go. Heading towards the water there. One can maybe infer that a naval expansion with the comm is going to be a thing. Never mind. Bots third. Meanwhile, on the south, we have AdmiralGeneral. Bots, air bots. Heading off to the side there. With a 4-4 start. So it seems as though both players are deciding to go with this airplay, although Admiral getting his up just a little bit sooner, which could potentially impact the expandability of Patar. Patar going for 2 P-gens before his second factory. Whereas Admiral risking it for a chocolate bumblebee with only 1 P-gen before it. As a result, though, just sacrificing a little bit of reclaim. Equally, he's only gone for 2 fabs there and a couple of docks before his combat fab, so he's a little late to the reclaim, but as long as he's not stalling, it's not that big of a deal. There you go, now he's stalling a little bit, he's just started reclaiming. And that'll bring him back up nicely into the green. And of course, because he's got these expanding fabs, that's going to get him back up afloat with regards to the economy. Very, very soon indeed. Second bot there, coming up for Patar now. You have the docks ready to be aggressive. Have a few scouts from Admiral, just seeing what they can. Seeing if someone's expanding into the naval. Seeing if they were expanding around to the side, seeing if they were going vehicles early. Though why would you go vehicles early? It's beyond me. Certainly on this map. Second bot's there. So we've got these odd docks just kind of wandering around everywhere. This gives a nice bit of vision coverage and a little bit of recon on each of these expansion points as well. Notice how they're not too far away from each of these expansion points. So if there is an unescorted fabricator, it will get picked off, and that's a really nice move. Fortunately for Admiral, though, Patar is savvy to this tactic. Moving the commander out. Where's he going? Where is he going? Is he just reclaiming trees to build this bot factory? Another curious move for the commander. Moving into the naval there, though, we hear lobs up on the north side there. 4 queued up, no less. Patar going for the surprise docks contain. Which I think is a fair move. The only issue with this is the expansion around the back to the navy. If Admiral can make that happen and swiftly, as well as shore up his defences, this whole lob strat is going to be slightly negated by the presence of water on this map. Again, though, Patar playing the expand and contain game, as with the first game in this best of 3. We've already got a huge amount of docks on the playing field there, up to 67 units. That is something to be afraid of, certainly. Moving down on the south, though, we've gone for a second air from Admiral. Simultaneously into the water. Probably going to bring out some narwhals. Possibly even some barracudas. Depends on whether he's seen the naval move from Pattaya. He has not. Once he sees the naval move, he'll probably factor in some barracudas and orcas, of course. But the docks threat is still very, very real indeed. The turret does not get finished yet, and the docks are already in the base. Will this fab get picked? Oh, drastically close. Bumblebee just managing to defend, but the turret does not go up. That's quite important for the future defence of this flank. No fabber will get there, and that turret will decay somewhat. And again, we have tons of docks ready. Third lob complete now, fourth beginning. Never mind, fourth complete. And so is the naval, with the naval fabber out already. We're going to head to the mechs there to grab that. You can see a little bit of eco disparity there. That's more attributed to Admiral's expansion, which could potentially just about to be knocked back. Fortunately for Admiral, though, he did build that point defence there, and the mech stands at 4%. Still, though, back in the base, not looking good. Fab was picked, the naval factory completed, however, so that's important. We have an air fabbers going around here. This is neat. I like this. So now the amount of mechs that's in your base usually is considered safe on this map. You can usually say, okay, I'm not going to try and raid the base, there'll be stuff in there. But Admiral has expanded completely skewed here to one side and neglected his other entirely, effectively opening up another front of attack here for Pattaya. Not only that, but he's relinquishing metal which he should... It should be his by birthright. You know, moving into T2 as well with Pattaya. Admiral not floating, which is good, and moving into naval on this... This is so peculiar. You'd expect the naval expansion to be into this pond, where there's more mechs to be secured with the range, but here I can't quite see the draw of this side over the other. All I know is that that dock's attack was completely undermined. Undermined? Oh, never mind. Right. Puns aside, Pattaya in the air game, a little bit behind Admiral though. Admiral floating his mechs again. But his unit count is so low, and that is due to those lobs. And due to the factory. Let's have a look at the factory count there. What? Well, I suppose two of those are naval, but... T2 almost finished, and Admiral only just beginning it. And again, on the weak side of his base. Yes, he's got Sparks here to defend, but as long as Pattaya micros his forces okay, he should be able to deal a good bit of damage to these Spark forces. I don't know, the concave is beginning. Divide and conquer, and the docks take down the Sparks. There you go. That's what I meant. Oh dear. We've got air fabs having to relocate just to get up a turret here. His eco's not looking too bad now as AdmiralGeneral, but that's because of all of this expansion around here. The moment the T2 bots start getting the slammers out though, they can come and raid this lot. No questions asked. Let alone the locusts. Docks again. Getting to critical mass here. The commander's nowhere to be seen. No Ubicans to defend this side. That is not good news for Admiral. Could lose this one 2-0. The Sparks, a very, very defensive unit. not getting their critical mass, not supported with enough docks, all the metal being wasted there as well. We could have a combat fab or two maybe to reclaim all these wreckages if Admiral was stalling. Fortunately for him, however, he is not. But his commander is busy building air factories. What's this guy doing? Just queuing up the mechs in the what? Completely curious. Right. We've got slammers on the field and we haven't even got a completed T2 bot factory here from Admiral. Now, the fact remains the game is not over. The eco disparity is a thing. Ish. I don't know what's going on there. Have we got some dodgy reclaim somewhere? Hence the Patar spikage. Yeah, we do. Some Trico, but Admiral needs so desperately to sort out his defences here because these docks are just whittling him down and away. But of course, the moment the slammers rear their heads, it's going to be a very different game indeed. When you got to meet the defence with a good bit of offence. Ooh. Yeah, here we go. Ring a roses back around me. These turrets doing their damnedest to do whatever they can. The T2 bot factory is complete. Starting up with the Faber and the P-Gen there as well. The fact that that Faber survived though is quite important. But just look at the containment here again. The majority of the base contain. The thing is, there's all this expansion. The slammers should be able to deal with that. We've even got a T2 naval factory begun on this side. Barracuda's standing sentry, ready to push in. They've whittled down the mechs there. Admiral back down to below 200 with his income. And Patar realising he doesn't have to push in, but the slammers this time though. And this T2 factory falls. If it falls, Slammer's not very well organised there. Pushing into the base. Not great for them. Quite a nice defence there. Second T2 factory coming up though. The Eco. It's interesting actually. I would have thought Patar's Eco would have been higher at this point. I mean, yes, he's tricoing, but he needs more power, and that's why he's getting up this second P-Gen. But his mechs is higher than necessary, so he should be able to afford that second factory, second T2 factory, without any questions. The real question, however, is T2 naval factory. We've got Krakens. Hello. Will we have kaijus? I wonder. The thing with this whole game though is Admiral just hasn't had an answer to the rate at which Patar can construct these docks with those lobs. The Barracuda's pushing in. They'll see and lock down the T2 naval with ease. They're not seen. In come the slammers into the water as well. Here we come. Down the side. Fabers have nowhere to run. The slammers there as well. It's not. I'm surprised. The Admiral is still giving this his best because his defences are struggling. They are holding but struggling. Very much indeed. He has to get up his T2. He has to get his slammer numbers up. This here is important though. If these get into the base and deal enough damage... It's over, but fortunately for Admiral, he's just managing to defend. He's living on the edge. He really is. Patar realising that getting back into the air game is necessary there to 4, 5, 6 air factories. Compared to Admiral's, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well. There you go. That was a lovely bombing raid there. Kraken's continuing to raid. The air trade is a thing. Admiral, can he maintain the air superiority? He does with flying colours. Flying blue, to be precise. Blue and blue. There's no secondary. Now, these orcas are great to defend this side. What about the other side? Where there's all of this metal that is now Patar's. Again, we have the Kraken. That's nasty. Absolutely nasty. I'm surprised that Kraken isn't shooting at the... what's it? Absolutely brutal. Bombers coming in though to sort it. Slowly but surely. Multipass is a thing. Endgame strategies though, the eco disparity is absolutely insane. Admiral is holding on by the skin of his teeth. Patar forming his endgame strategy. He has his kaijus ready, he has his slammers ready. I'm surprised he's not got some locusts just for the initial push, but he doesn't need it with the kaiju harass, the docks harass, not kaiju harass, Kraken harass. The only thing he doesn't have right now is air control. The moment he has air control, one can say the GGs, but that is what Admiral has to his name right now, is the air control. Can he do much with it? It's going to be tricky, but he has to make sure that his aggression counts. Hey, look at that. Docks thrown away into the base there. The air trade happens though. Admiral will not be kited into the base. That will not be a thing. 2, 3, 4 more Krakens though. So this base metal is definitely not a thing to be relying on in this game. And slammers of all things being used in defence. We need to get those torpedo launchers up pronto, and indeed here they come, lobbing their torps over. Kaijus though. Their DPS is impressive against Docks hordes, but the Docks getting in close though will damage the Kaijus. And damaged Kaijus are not really what you want. It's going to be Kaiju on Kaiju here. Gosh, Admiral. Admiral's base is in tatters. It has been for the whole game. The Kaiju arrives. And now the flank is looking horribly, horribly exposed. T2 bot factory is no more. But Admiral will play on. As admirable as Admiral is, I think this is a lost cause. I don't know, he can't really pull off a comm snipe. Even Patar's bringing his comm to safety to the back of the base there. And the bombers over the kaijus. Admiral's losing air superiority here, big time. Even moving his comm out, yeah. I think he accepts that this game is somewhat done. Somewhat done. As he heads his commander towards the kaijus on that horizon. Wonderful. Come on, one last Uber cannon, sir. The GG turns into an explosion. Wow, very, very strong plays from Patar. And surprising weakness from Admiral, actually. Very, very surprising. Alas, 'twas a good game. 'Twas a good game. We've had the vehicle transition and drifters ready. So those will be really good at raiding these icebergs, where there's a bit of expansion to be gained. Not only that, but eventually they can also form a backbone of a naval fleet as well, pushing in. Because Admiral has not really got his feet wet. Just let that sink in for a little bit. Don't worry, I'll wave that pun goodbye. I'm sure it'll be the last one. Meanwhile,